my family. Okay, it is Thursday afternoon, and I actually have to get outside and do some weeding around some tomatoes and stuff like that. But I thought about dinner tonight, and I'm making what's called a Mediterranean fattoush. The only way I could pronounce that is fattoush salad. So in order to make this, though, there is an ingredient that I do not have, and that is called Pita. I refuse to buy it from the store. I will make it myself. And currently, yes, I am making bread sauces, but I am going to be using these awful sparingly. What I do is once I make my sauces, I actually will freeze them, use them over time, and when I run out, then I will make more. And I'm in that process right now of being able to make a variety of different breads. I have one more to make after my pita, which will be my naan bread for my homemade pizzas. After this, all of my sources, from the sourdough bread to the whole wheat grain bread, the pita and the naan, for me, all of these will be in the freezer. When I run out, I will make some more. And I also made some baguettes. So again, these are sources that I am making as a stock, because eventually the only bread you will probably be seeing me making is low carb, because that means my husband will go through it faster than I will probably go through my own. So I am going to set you up, and I'm going to show you how to make. Now, mind you, these are not gluten-free. These are not low carb. These are for ordinary pitas. I do, however, also have a video from times past where I had made some low carb pita bread, if anybody was interested in going back. And I will try to look for that video and include that in the description for you so that you can refer to it off of this one. So I'm going to get started, and we need to let this rest for 15 minutes, and then there's 2 10-minute resting, and then an hour. So we're going to get started on this. Okay, so we're going to make what's called a shaggy dough at first. So in order to do that, I'm going to need 1 cup of lukewarm water. Temperatures between 105 110 basically. I need 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Static cling. Some of these breads are hard because in the area where I live, we hold a lot of humidity too. And I think that's what happened to my bread yesterday that I had made. I need a ½ teaspoon of sugar, which will not go into my body. This will be eaten by the yeast. Now I'm going to take this mixture, and I am actually going to mix it up very well before I add my flour. Make sure I get all of my bits in here. Okay, now I'm going to be adding a ½ cup of flour. And I like to flow my flour into my cups and then scrape off the edges. This keeps it from being dense, and I know I don't have too much flour in my mixes. So I'm just flowing into my cup, leveling off my sides, and then I will sprinkle this inside my bowl. And I'm not compacting my flour. So I'm just going to mix this all together right now. I'm going to leave it sit here in a warm place, which is quite warm in the house at the moment. And I'm going to let this sit covered for 15 minutes. This should get nice and bubbly at that point before we come in here and add the rest of our ingredients. This recipe comes from Mediterranean Dish. I'm learning a lot from this lady. She is an amazing Mediterranean channel. She's born and raised Mediterranean, Egyptian. She has the most amazing food I have ever tasted. So, and I like I said, I am learning a lot from her. And as of tonight's supper, we're having fish, flounder, and I'm going to actually make a lemon bake and having fattoush salad to go with this. So, okay, now I'm going to take and cover this up, get my timer, and we're going to let this sit for 15 minutes. So I'm going to set this now. And we will be back in 15 minutes. Okay, so our 15 minutes is up and this is nice and frothy and bubbly. So our next step, we're going to add, I think I'm going to add 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt, and I'm using Himalayan sea salt. So I'll probably use 1 teaspoon of this. This is only going to make about 7 to 8 pitas, so. And I usually don't put a whole lot of salt in any of my ingredients, especially with a bread sauce. So, and especially when it's going to be flavored, because what I plan on doing with these afterwards is going to be the really cool part. So there's actually a reason why I had to make pita. I need them for my salad tonight, but a unique way. So I am going to add 1 teaspoon of salt to this. And I probably shouldn't have done that directly on top of this, but I did. I need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm going to be using 2 cups of flour, reserving a half a cup. Altogether, this recipe has 3 cups of flour. Now, it called for all-purpose. I don't use all-purpose. Besides, I have a 5-gallon bucket of bread flour that I actually have to get used up. The only problem with this one is it is bleached. Once this is used up, from now on, I'm only going to be getting unbleached bread flour. But I got to use this bread flour up, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to be adding 2 cups of our bread flour to this, saving the last half cup for dusting when I go to kneading it and everything. So that's 1. And 2. Now I'm just going to mix this up really good. Put the cover back on here. Mix this up. Get this started and incorporated. And then these old hands are getting in the dough, just like I always do. I guess I'm an old-fashioned girl, and I really don't mind getting my hands dirty in my food, honestly. This is actually therapy for me. I actually have this Saturday a women's meeting at church where I'm teaching lady folks how to make homemade bread for them at home. So I guess the Lord had something to do with me by feeding his sheep by bread. Maybe not by alone in bread, but nonetheless has to do with bread. So I'm just gonna knead this a little bit, try and get all these pieces used up in here. Okay, so now at this point, after I got everything all done in here. This is not the major kneading part yet. I'm just going to go ahead and leave this sit here, and I'm going to let it sit for 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and knead it. So I'll set my timer for 10 minutes, and we will be back. Okay, so we're going to do another light kneading on this, and then it'll sit another 10 minutes. So I'm just going to lightly do my board, bring this out just a little bit, and I'm going to just do this until it's smooth. It is slightly sticky. Like I said, I'm just doing this until it's smooth. I'm going to lightly dust my hands with the flour. This is kind of working the glutens in it too. Okay, so we got this slightly smooth. Gonna let this rest another 10 minutes, and at that point it will be kneaded again and getting ready to sit for 1 hour. So we're just gonna put this back in here, tuck it back in its little bed, cover it up, and rest another 10 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to do the final kneading of the dough. Gonna do just a little bit here, and then we're gonna allow this to rest. And the way this is feeling, these are gonna be super soft. I'm actually gonna like, these may actually even puff up when I go to cook this. That would be so awesome. We're not kneading them too much on this. We're just, and you don't want to add a whole lot of flour to these either. They will be slightly sticky and moist. You want them that way. Okay, so these little bad boys are done. I'm going to tighten this up into a ball. Going to take my olive oil into my bowl, lightly coat it, all the way around. Coat the top of my dough ball, pop it in here, flip it over, cover this up, and we're going to let this rest for 1 hour. And when this hour is up, we will come back. We'll be dividing these up into pieces, and then we're going to be cooking them. There are two ways of doing this. They can be baked in the oven, or they can be cooked in the cast iron skillet. I am going to do the cast iron skillet method. That's the one we're going to work with together. So I will be back with you shortly. Okay, y'all, so while we're waiting on this bread to rise, I think it was last week, I had done a week's worth of breakfast for both hubby and I wanted to test this out. I've never done that before, instead of every morning routine, and that routine was getting quite boring, and hubby was actually getting kind of, it was the same thing, scrambled eggs and sausage. So I started doing the make-ahead meals. The one I did learn that worked exceptionally well, that he really enjoyed, was the Jimmy Dean's breakfast bowl. Now, he absolutely enjoyed that, so I'm going to be redoing that again this week. Every Friday, I have come to the conclusion, I think the way this worked out, it was so much easier for me, considering what I had to do every week and every day. It was so much easier for me to do this. So I'm going to schedule every Friday, and I'm going to do it with YouTube, with each and every one of you. Maybe give you some ideas as well, whether it be Mediterranean or low carb, as I will be doing both, because I like the fact that I could just throw something. When I don't feel like making me breakfast, I struggle. I struggle to eat 3 times a day. I'm the type of person that have only ate once a day, and then at nighttime, that's when I would actually eat, was during my supper. But then I'd find myself gorging, and I do not want to do this anymore. I would rather eat 3 decent meals in a day. So I found that it worked for me as well. So I will be doing Mediterranean dishes, and I will be doing low carb breakfast dishes. I'm going to start doing this every Friday, and I will be posting up on my channel and uploading a video every week and every Friday on how or what I am doing. And maybe it can help bring some meals into your homes, some freezer meals or whatever that you can prepare for your family. This will not only be fun, it'll be economical, and it'll probably be saving a lot of time for each and every one of you. As much as I found it actually saved time for me, and I actually enjoyed it. So I kind of didn't know what to do with myself, since it was so simple. But I had learned that extra time I can actually sit down and have an actual good cup of coffee. So I am going to be doing that again. So starting tomorrow, I am looking at doing the breakfast bowls absolutely again. He loved that. And if not those, maybe a casserole type of thing, a breakfast casserole. I could throw it in the microwave and that's it. Another thing I'm going to be doing, kind of like Eggos, where I could pop them into the toaster, toast them up in the morning. But I am going to be looking at doing a chocolate low carb waffles. So, and then I could give hubby some no, sugar-free syrup to go with it, or just a tiny bit of honey. So, that's going to be another one for him. And I'm going to look for other ideas, but for right now, these seem to be my plans for him this next week. Also, and this is even, I may just do scrambled eggs one day in between. It all depends on what he feels like. Now for me, the Mediterranean style, I had one this morning that was amazing. It was beautiful. And it was actually fried up sweet potatoes and onions. It had some half tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. It had a fried egg. And then it was mixed with some, what do you call it, feta cheese. It was really, really good. So I may be making some of that. I will definitely be making some more hummus really soon. Labneh, I'll probably be making that as well, which labneh, I'll explain this. Not too many people know exactly what that is. It's basically, in America, it's considered cream cheese. However, in the Middle East, it is more tangy, and I get that. I've tasted it. It's actually made out of very active yogurt, not Greek yogurt, because it can tend to be too thick, but just regular, like Dannon yogurt. So, and I need to get some. I'm about out of my labneh, and all I would do is spread that on a piece or a half piece of sourdough bread. Another thing I could do is make some mashed avocados with some egg on top of my toast and have that as well. So I will be coming up with some breakfast ideas for Mediterranean where I can reheat and eat this week as well. So I figured I'd go ahead and explain that to you, and if this is something you might enjoy, let me know. I am definitely paying attention to each and every one of you that are speaking to me. I've had some of you ask about an address. That's really kind and sweet of you. Honestly, it is. However, with the cost of a P.O. box right now, and really there's not a lot of traffic that it would cause me to open up a P.O. box. And actually putting my home address on open line, I don't want to say I'm a skeptical person, but I'm a skeptical person. So let me think about this and see if there is another way maybe that we might be able to do something. And I will check with the post office to see what their cheapest box is, if it have to be. But I will have to let you know on that, and you could talk to me privately if you would like to. But I've been thinking about this, and there has been more than one that has asked me about an address. So again, I appreciate you. Right now we're just going to wait until our bread finished rising, and then from there we're going to go ahead and finish the rest of our pita, and then I will end up taking you right into making a fattoush salad to go with our supper tonight. So I shall be back with you. Okay, y'all, our 1 hour is up, and our bread, oh boy, has definitely doubled in size. We did good here. Now we're going to take this out, put it on a floured surface. We're going to cook these up. Then I'm going to set 2 of them aside so I can prepare them for our salad tonight, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing with those 2. So right now I'm going to take this out. Get a bread cutter. And I'm going to cut these in 8 pieces. Alright, and now I'm going to take each piece that was cut, form these into a ball. Then I'm going to set them aside till I can get to each and every one of them. Now I am actually going to put these on a plate or in a dish where I can wrap them up and keep them from getting dried out. I'm going to put this, lightly flour my surface here. Side right here and put them right here by my side so I can cover these up. And I said I'm just going to form these into a ball. And I'll be rolling these out to a 1/4 inch thick. These are going to be, I can feel this already, these are going to be nice and fluffy pitas. I don't think I've ever had pitas like this before. And some of these seem a bit thick, so I'm going to add some of this dough to this one. And then this last one here. In the meantime, I do have my cast iron skillet heated up. Okay, this one here was a little bit thick, so again, I'm going to take some off one, add it to another. Okay, and there we go. So now I'm going to take each one and roll these out into a circle about 1/4 inch thick, and then we're going to pop them into our skillet, which is lightly greased. I put a little bit of olive oil in here, and then wiped it out so there's no excess oil in here. Roll these out the best I can into a circle. And if it's hard to roll these out, you can always let these rest for a few minutes. Which is probably what I'm going to do with these. After I'm going to cover them up to keep them from drying out, but I'm going to let these rest in between time too. That way it makes it easier to roll out. And get a different rolling pan and see if this will help as well. Yeah, it helps some. The other one's just a little bit too big for this job in this corner space, so this one helps just a little bit better. So many new things I could see I need to, don't actually need, but I could actually add to my kitchen ensembles equipment, like a no-handled rolling pin. To do small jobs like this. Okay, so this is not perfect by far. But I'm going to go ahead and pop this in here. Now this will be about 30 seconds. And then we'll flip this over for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to be flipping these over for 1 to 2 minutes. Supposedly these are supposed to puff up, so we'll see what happens. If not, they'll make good naan bread. Haha, yes, here we go. We are actually getting some rise to this. This is amazing, y'all. I don't know how puffy we will get, but we're getting there. And I'll just keep flipping these over back and forth until they are completely done. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cooking this one, and I'll bring you back when it's finished and show you how I'm going to store them while I get the rest of them cooked. Okay, this one is going to puff up just about as much as it's going to. So, and what I've done on this is I made bread bag, or a bread bag. So you can use a towel for this instead. Just go ahead and cover it up, keep them warm. I'm going to go ahead and add some more olive oil to this. Just lightly coat it. And I am going to use a pastry brush to brush my olive oil into my pan. It's just to keep it from sticking. And I'm going to add this in here. Again, 30 seconds. Now after 30 seconds, flip it over, and then we're going to cook in, flipping them back and forth 1 to 2 minutes. We shall be back. Here y'all go. This is the way they're supposed to go, just like little pocket pillows. I think the first time I just did it too thin and rolled it out too thin. So this is the way it should have been, just like this. You want to get these little pocket pillows. And y'all, this is the first time I actually had Pita do this. So this recipe is a really good one, it seems. Once I seen it do this, I had to bring you to it. Then that's not going to say it's going to stay like this, but it will be when I do cut it. If I want to make pita pockets out of this, say I want to make homemade gyros, otherwise known as gyros, these will be perfect. They will already be separated enough to where when I cut them, I could just stuff these. So this is amazing. I'm so loving this. Okay, y'all, so I am going to go ahead and finish the rest of our pitas. Once these are done, I will be right back with you. Okay, y'all, so now we're going to take these. These are slightly cooled off, so I'm going to, actually, these did not puff up very well, but I'm still going to use them, and I'll show you how. These here, I can just cut down and open up the pocket and make a single layer out of them. Maybe not so much in this one, but that's all right. I might be able to. I actually want the single layer as much as I possibly can. So just pull it apart and make pieces out of it. This was the very first one, and it could have been that my pan just wasn't at the time hot enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and break this up. Some of these are thicker, so I might be able to cut those pieces down in half, just like that. So I'm just making pita pieces, because this is part of our salad. And instead of croutons, we're actually going to make some crispy pita. And these taste so good. I'm actually making a little extra because I'm going to freeze mine where I can reheat them in the oven. So this one here, I actually cut in half. This one was able to. Look at all the nooks and crannies. I don't know if you can see that. This, oh my gosh. These are the best recipes. So I am going to go ahead and include that recipe in the description for y'all, for those who want to be able to do this. And for those who are doing the low carb, the recipe that I had done on that one for y'all, you can do the same thing for this, as far as cooking them up the way I'm fixing to, and then prepare them for your family for that night, or you can put them away for later, like I'm going to do on some of these. So yeah, now this one here opened up. That's the one that opened up a little bit at the end. So all right, so now that we got these cut up, I'll show you what we're going to do with them. So now we still got our pan, and it's still, I'm going to turn it back on. It's still slightly warm. So I'm actually going to put some olive oil in here, and I'm going to get a bigger bowl, and I'm going to coat these as well. You can put these in the air fryer if you wanted to, but I don't know, there's just something about doing this in a cast iron skillet. Just going to lightly coat these. Make sure my pan's hot enough. And all we're going to basically be doing is toasting these to kind of a crisp. Not super crisp, but just a little bit. Now that pan was still hot from what I just did with my pitas over here. And that bag works great to keep them warm. I need them to cool off because I'm going to freeze these. And now I'm just going to toss these around until they're good and toasted. Get up in there. Put that on medium high. Oh, I am so looking forward to dinner, y'all. Fix this up where you can see it maybe just a little bit better. There you go. And I will, once I get these done, I will show you a close-up of it. Like I said, it's just toasting these up to get somewhat of a crisp. We want to kind of like a crouton, but not super crunchy. If that made any sense at all. And like I said, you can bake these. You don't have to put them on here. Or you can air fry them. These are almost done. So once these is done, I'll bring you back. Okay, y'all. Here is our Fattoush pita chips. Lord, y'all, I'm just going to tell you, I'm really going to have to learn how to be a really good girl. This Mediterranean food is really outstanding, and I had been doing low carb for so long, and now that I get the break to be able to do Mediterranean, I really have to learn how to behave myself. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then over here is the pita. So this, it will be, once these are cool, these will be frozen so that I can use this for other meals, and that's going to be so awesome. So the next step will be our Fattoush salad, and I will show you how to make that along with these. Now I'm not going to be using all of these in my salad. A good portion of these will also be put in the freezer. I'm just having them already pre-made so I don't have to go through this step. All I'll have to do is just reheat them up in my toaster oven, or my, actually the air frying oven. So let's get going, and we'll go ahead and start the salad next. Okay, y'all, so now we are on the salad part. And I started out, this is not a typical thing. I'm adding this to it. I don't have any romaine except for what little I have grown. So the basic green part, or the lettuce part of this, is romaine. I have half for me right now, regular store-bought iceberg, and then the other part I am using farm fresh raised lettuce. So, and this is romaine, some bronze lettuce, and a few others. So I'm just going to do a mixture of our salad mix right here. Now I'm going to take and cut these up. To me, there's just nothing better than farm raised. And this is what I love about homesteading too. This is just part of it. We have some fresh picked radishes too. But I'm going to use up some of this old stuff that we have before I do that. I'm getting ready to actually, that big old thing of swimming pool that we had that I showed you all. Well, all those radishes, I just picked my 5th round of radishes. So they're about all picked out, and I'm about to pop in some more seeds. They only take about 30 days, so I might have just enough another round before it gets super hot. So now I'm just going to add all this lettuce in here. Mix this up really good. Okay. Yeah, if I can keep it in my bowl. Now I am going to chop up some farm fresh mint that goes in here as well. And I'm just going to do a couple leaves of these. Just a little more. And then we're going to do some fresh parsley. This one I'm going to save for my tea tonight. I'm going to have some red clover tea that we grew. And the clover's in prime picking, so I've been occasionally getting some of that. And then making some red clover tea. Crimson red clover tea, actually. And I actually picked some to dehydrate so that I can have some tea later. We're waiting to get these dried. We're going to pull them and we're going to use them for the seeds to replant again. Okay, so our next ingredient is going to be some sliced radishes. Now these are not farm raised. This is just some of the stuff we've had and we need to get rid of it. So I'm just going to add these in here. My ends off. This should be enough radishes now. This is actually a very simple salad to make. Okay, we're going to clean this up and then we're going to get the rest of our ingredients and be right back. Okay, I don't have any Roma tomatoes, so I'm just going to have some cherry tomatoes in this. And I'm keeping an eye on our fish as well. I have some lemon flounder in the oven. So,
do what now?
now hold on while I explain to hubby what's going on.
Oh.
Alright, y'all, I had to get the fish out of the oven anyway, so we got that out and finished. And hubby is actually going to have this Fattoush salad with me, and I will show you how I'm doing this low carb for him, because you all know that I fried up the pitas for me, but he can't have them. There is a way, though, he can. So, and I will show that to you. All right, so got a good amount of tomatoes in there. Next, we're going to do some English cucumber. I need to get some of these too. I actually need to do a good grocery run for fresh vegetables right now until ours start coming in. But it is what it is, and I do what I can do. Go a few more of these. Now I like these English cucumbers because they don't have as many seeds. And you can use whatever kind of cucumber you actually would like. And yes, y'all, hubby's home from work, so. Alright, and that's it on that. Now, the next step is using some green onions. And I'm going to get this cleaned up and get these, and then I could start making the dressing part. Okay, y'all, so now I'm just going to go ahead and chop up the green and the white parts of some bunching onions in this. I'm going to get a bigger knife. I've got about 4 or 5 bunching onions on this. Again, I'm learning this from the channel Mediterranean Dish. Susie is absolutely amazing. And I'm really surprised, but she is actually helping me to be able to set up my future as far as eating healthy and staying where I'm at today. So I really appreciate her for that. So I'm just sharing this with y'all too for anybody else who's interested. So now got my onions, and then we're going to be working on the dressing. To my subscriber, I'm going to leave the name unmentioned. They will know who they are. Thank you for this cutting board. I truly love this thing. And the oven mitts, they're absolutely amazing. I greatly appreciate you. This was pretty awesome. Okay, so now for our dressing. Now, I could use lemon, but I'm going to use some lime juice. And unfortunately, I don't have any fresh limes. So I'm going to cheat and use this store-bought stuff. It's not the best. I'm not really that fond of it. What is wrong? My bottle will not sit. Oh, I see. Okay. I've got a bottle of olive oil that would not sit straight. So, again, I'm going to go ahead and just use some lime juice. And I'm going to use about a quarter. About a quarter of a cup, if that. A couple tablespoons of it. About a quarter cup of olive oil. I'm going to finish off this bottle here. This is my most expensive one, but that one was like $24, and I can't afford to get any more of it right now, or I absolutely would, because this stuff here is just as amazing as the rest of my stuff. That's the one I get from the Colin Art store here in town. Okay, so I have this. I need some salt and pepper now to taste. I'm using about a half a teaspoon of salt. About a quarter or so. Use it to taste. Now, the recipe also calls for a pomegranate molasses. I do not have my hands on that stuff, so I'm going to have to omit it. If I ever do get my hands on it, I will definitely let you all know how it was. I'm going to use a half a teaspoon approximately of Sumac, which is that lemony flavored seasoning, kind of that sour, lemon sour pucker, which you really want in flavoring of your Mediterranean food like this. I'm going to need about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and a pinch of allspice. Okay. And that would be about it, folks. And I'm just going to stir this up really good. These salads are really, really simple. So much healthier too on our bodies. And now I'm just going to take and pour this over our salad. And then I'm going to toss everything together. Yes, you know I like to clean out everything. I was always taught waste not, want not. So I don't believe in wasting. So I will clean it out good. Alright, so now I'm going to get my tongs and toss this. Bring this and incorporate it through. Now when I plate this, I will put this salad mix into our bowl, and then the pita chips that we fried up earlier, I'll sprinkle these on top. I also made some homemade hummus. Oh, and I will explain something about that hummus to y'all in just a moment. But this is good and tossed. Now, for hubby, we know that he can't have the pita chips that I made, that we made together today. However, the recipe that I told you that I am going to share, and I will link that video in the description for you to return to so that you can find it for those who are doing low carb. I did make him some of his own low carb pita chips so that he could have fattoush with me. Everything else in this salad he absolutely can eat. The only thing he couldn't do was the bread source. So we have these salads done, our fish is done, and I got one more thing to show you, and that would be the hummus and something to explain. If you remember, I also did some home canned of the chickpeas or garbanzo beans instead of buying them from the store. I told you I wanted to try them and to see how they worked out. Well, I did. I actually made hummus out of it, and I'm going to tell you, pressure canned, home canned, putting that on my shelf turned out so creamy, way better than what I could ever buy from the store, and I'm fixing to show that to you. So let me be right back. Okay, and here is my hummus. Now this is topped with olive oil and extra virgin olive oil and za'atar. But this turned out so creamy, way better than I've ever gotten from the grocery store canned. So if you're interested in canning your own chickpeas, I would encourage you to do so. So let me set this up and we will finalize this video. Okay, y'all, so that was this evening's video with you. Tomorrow is Friday, so I will be doing some menu planning tonight, figuring out what I want to do. And then, like I said, on Fridays, I am going to be prepping our breakfast for the week meals. And I'll probably start doing this somewhat through the week for dinner as well, and maybe a few lunches. So right now, definitely we're doing breakfast. So I will be working with you again tomorrow, and I hope you all enjoy this. And I'm hoping I'm bringing some different flavors and some excitement into your home like it is in our homestead. So until next time, much love from Parton's Heritage Homestead.